So thank you so much for joining us on the episode of Teen Talks. This is season 2 and this is the first episode of season 2. So we are so excited for it. It is powered by Inertia Teens and today we are here with Girl Up Bengaluru and we have the president of Girl Up Bengaluru, Lakshmi, and content and research head Garima. I'm so happy to have you both here today. Could you please tell us a little more about yourself and about your venture?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Lakshmi. I'm a second year biotechnology engineering student at Vellore Institute of Technology, VIT. So a little about me. I like reading, I like writing, I like photography. These are just some things that I do in my free time. Coming to Girl Up Bengaluru as a venture, Girl Up Bengaluru is a United Nations Foundation project. I think Garima will get into that more as she usually does our introductions for us. So just in brief, we work towards helping girls with their education, whatever we can do from our side, tailored to the needs of our city, which is Bangalore. And we've been at this for about a year, and it's been a great journey. So, and I can't wait to see what we have in store for us in the future too. And yeah, I think Garima will take it from here.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Lakshmi, for sparing the my usual role part. So, so my name is Garima. I am a first year law student at National Law University, Odisha. So, yeah, what I like doing, I love reading. I'm a bibliophile. I read, anything and everything, and I like striking conversations with people under the age of 5 and hearing their their point of view, which is really intriguing at times. And I'm a pretty basic person, not much of anything else. Speaking of Girl Up Bengaluru, it is a United Nations Foundation initiative, as Girl Up told, of girls helping girls in sports, academics, co-curricular, ending period poverty, feminism, and all of this. So it is girls being in the leadership role of girls, uplifting underprivileged girls. And it's not that boys can't join the movement; they are also most welcome. But that's the major logic behind the initiative. So I'll just tell you briefly as to, we are the Bengaluru chapter and we are a community based club, so anyone and everyone in Bengaluru can come in after a small quality check. There are other chapters which are associated with schools, there are chapters associated with colleges, and we have coalitions, like we have Girl Up Karnataka, we have Girl Up India, we have the Girl Up initiative all over the world, right? So this way we can strive to make better change with additional resources, pooling in talent and other stuff. That's about it.
That is quite interesting, and I am really surprised to learn so much and can't wait to hear more about Girl Up. So moving on to the next question. What is your story behind Girl Up Bengaluru? Like, how did you get involved and what is the most intriguing thing you feel that you enjoy while doing this?
Okay. So our story behind Girl Up Bengaluru is Girl Up Bengaluru was founded last year around this time in October. And that was so when it was founded, we were just a page that, put out content. And we had a few people who were actively involved with the content designing and everything like that. But after a while, we kind of collapsed to a certain extent, you can say, because the number of people kind of reduced and everything was moving very slowly, and we were at this place where we didn't know what to do. And from there, we kind of came forward and we started doing things. So we started recruiting more people, and we did everything that we could possibly do to regain the club to where it was before. And from there, we've done so many projects. We've worked with education, menstrual education drives. We've created safe spaces with other organizations. There's been so much that we've done. I don't think we can say it in this point, and we're so happy to have done so much and I'm just so excited whenever I speak about it. And to answer your question about what is the thing that intrigues me the most about Girl Up, I genuinely don't think I can choose, because that's the amount of love I have towards my organization and everyone in all of the girls who are present in our chapter. And I feel like every day, to me, it's not like a job or anything, because it genuinely feels so fun to be able to interact with so many people and do things to actually make a difference in society. So yeah, I don't think I could choose. Garima, can you?
Yeah, for me, the most intriguing is there is no authority here. Like, although we have roles, say content head, president, vice president, it is just that you come up with an idea, you just inform us. I mean, you just inform Lakshmi, and then you go ahead with it. Like, there is no this full process of like higher authority, lower authority, which is present in most of the other organizations, is what I believe. And other intriguing part is like just yeah, like it's so nice to find that change has not died, like change is not dead. You have people like Lakshmi and others in our team coming forward, and it's really good. Like, I mean, first of all, during the pandemic, this was my only source of socialization. Like the Tuesday meetings is where I see people, right? Otherwise it's just like go study. Even in classes you don't open camera, and like yeah, it's more than just what you can put into words, I guess.
I'm so happy that is the case with you, because, and first of all, congratulations on 1 year. That's a great accomplishment. And I really wish you the best for your future. And I can't wait to see what all content you put out, because it's so interesting. And like you said, even on, backside of the screen, when we see your post and everything, it is so exciting for us, because it is something we can connect to and relate to. So it is like enjoyment for the audience as well. So moving on to the next question. As members of Girl Up Bengaluru, how do you take care of your mental health? Like, I know being on the internet, especially Instagram, as a teenager, or, you know, uh, as a young adult, is so tough in general. And then managing studies, commitments, everything with that. And do you ever face burnout with that? Because I know college and school is very tiring and very unpredictable as well. You can, expect burnouts quite often. So how do you take care of that?
Okay, I'll go ahead. So talking about mental health and the entire concept of burnout, I think it is just a given that it does happen sometimes. Sometimes we are at our lowest point, right? Like how much ever I enjoy working with Girl Up Bengaluru and just doing things, it does sometimes, affect me, because there's just so much going on, especially with college. I have college till 7 p.m. sometimes, and there's just so many projects to do, so many things to do. It really does take a toll on me. And like you said, being on Instagram, seeing people actually doing things with their lives, maybe maybe being on LinkedIn and seeing that people are doing internships, they're doing projects, and just having that kind of goal that, okay, I have to be more than that, I have to push myself constantly in order to be someone that they are, and try to reach that level of success, I should say. But I feel like over time, I've kind of realized that what you see on the internet isn't the reality of anything. And my mental health is based on me. I'm the only one who can take care of myself. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. So even though I used to constantly kind of burn myself out and just try to work 24/7, regardless of what was around me or what I was feeling inside, I think now I'm starting to take out time to do things that I really want to do, and, kind of rest, because I feel like that's very important. To me right now, productivity doesn't really mean doing things every single minute, every single second of every day, but kind of balancing it out, right? So now I try to go for exercises, I try to go cycling every day, I try to go walking, or just sitting with myself, taking a break, watching a show. It could be anything, but just taking out time to do that every single day, just to keep myself sane, is something that I've been trying to practice, and it has really been working. It has shown me great wonders. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think yeah, obviously burnout and all of that. So as I told you, I read a lot. So there was a time in life when I overread self-help, and productivity was my mantra every day. And so again, this led to me being in my mental prison, that this is what I should be, and if I don't reach such a goal, I'm not worthy of it, and all of that. Being on social media, one thing is I don't post anything on social media. Like, I just story stuff. And yeah, I mean, again, that's like a personal choice, because I feel storing and then archiving it for myself is something what I choose to do. Seeing others doing so much, and like being in their perfect bodies and perfect places all the time is kind of exhausting, is what I believe. What I do is, again, I tell myself it's okay. Sometimes you also get to fuck up, and you also get to be in your not so ideal shape every time. It's totally okay. Yeah, so again, you are, again, there's a cycle. I believe you idealize, you fail so many times that you don't even recognize how far you have come with whatever little thing that initiative that you have taken. After a point of time, you just stop. If okay You just stop giving any bucks to the to such a notion that you have to be perfect all the time. Like, that's where I am right now.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, especially with COVID-19. And this society has a very high standard of productivity for women. I feel that. And it is like they need to work 24/7 to prove themselves worthy of everything, which I have seen and felt. But then that's not true. We need to take out some time for ourselves. And social media is a vast place with all kinds of people. So we should start setting boundaries with social media, and eliminate and restrict the kind of content we consume, because that is something that we are doing every day and every now and then. So moving on to the next question: what's the condition of mental health among women in India, in your opinion?
Yeah, good.
Go ahead, Garima.
Okay, so regarding mental health, I think it's tough to gauge because we don't speak about it. But yeah, I mean, it is bad. It is bad, is what I think. Like, uh, whatever. I mean, first of all, the number of people who have access to mental health resources are negligible, and the fact that we are having such a conversation about mental health, having knowledge about mental health, means we are extremely privileged, because we again, we have educated ourselves with whatever the case it may be. We know that there are things, it's okay to talk about such stuff. But I think the innate say the cultural influence of a woman to just subdue whatever she feels, and just take it with a flow to another level and not ask for help, is dominating. And I think it is abysmally low, is what I believe, because you know if you're talking about it, at least you get to hear people. But if you don't, I think silence is far more worse. Is what I think.
Yeah, I think that's really true. I mean, I completely second that because women in India, I feel like mental health, the fact that we know it itself is something that's come up very recently, right? Like maybe if you asked me what mental health was 5 years ago, I wouldn't know. Like I'd know that, okay, I'm going through something. Maybe I get anxious sometimes, but what is that? Like, what is it in the bigger picture? Does it really mean that I am suffering from something? Or it could be anything like that, right? So I think it's so hidden in society today. whatever class, caste you may be. When it comes to women, say in the poorer regions of India, they with household work, with the chores, with taking care of their children, domestic violence. There is just so much. Like the list could go on and on, right? And even amongst us teenagers or women in the urban areas, there is just so much stereotype that's put on us, so much pressure, constant pressure from society, that it's just bound to happen, right? And I think I read a study a few days ago that kind of spoke about how mental health among women is much more prevalent as compared to men. And maybe this might not be true, it might be an inconclusive study, whatever it is, but I think we do see it, right? It is like right in front of us, as like a living proof that it is very prevalent. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say.
Yes, I think that is the condition with India, but I think we as Inertia Teens and Teen Talks and you as an organization, we are trying our best to reach those areas and educate people about this. And still we are on that journey, but I hope someday we reach that goal. And even small steps are like really helping to, accomplish the big goal, because it is such a and maybe a small step would make a small difference, but maybe in some years hopefully it can reach to many more people. And right now what we can do, like to our best, is spread this to urban girls so that they know what is mental health. Like you said, 5 years ago you wouldn't have known about mental health. So that is what we can aim at, is you know pre-teens and teens know what is mental health before they go through something else. And with COVID-19 it was such a rough journey, because they are not going out, they are not talking to people. So that communication thing also adds on to not knowing a lot about this. And moving on to the next question, what role does education play in mental health of women, and what are some of the projects you did for the same?
So when you talk about education, I think education, not only for mental health, for any aspect of your life, is so important, especially for people who don't really have the access to it. Because when you're educated, you start realizing that maybe the stereotypes that you've grown up with, or the things that you thought to be true, aren't really like that in the real world. And education, specifically for mental health, is very important, because if you don't know the problem exists, you can't solve it, right? So that's something was spoken about in the previous question also. If people aren't aware that something like this is there, they tend to blame themselves, they tend to think that it's a problem that they have and no one else faces. So education kind of gives you that perspective, and it makes you realize that okay, you're not alone, you're in this with other people, and there is light beyond this darkness, and you will be able to see that when you are educated. And even otherwise, like women in rural areas are, for them education is something that is so unreachable. And I think if we're actually able to give them that access, there can be so much of change. They can start to realize that even things like domestic violence is so normalized, right? Women are just put under that constant pressure, and it's just they don't know a world outside that because of so many aspects. And being able to reach that education will definitely help. Coming to what we have undertaken as a team, I think maybe we haven't been able to reach rural areas, but we've done our part where we've collaborated with several mental health advocating organizations, for example, Inertia Teens itself. But apart from that, we've done other collaborations and kind of spoken about this with people who have the access to the internet. But in the future, we're definitely looking to kind of broaden our horizon to rural women and rural girls, and help them out in any way that we can, so that the gap is bridged.
Yeah, I think like the education part, yeah, like I mean the collab part, I think Lakshmi has covered as to what work we have done with regard to mental health. Education, yeah, absolutely. First of all, you must know that it's bad. Like, it's mental health and something, mental health education, sexual, sex education is, something that are so similar in terms of education. It is hushed. It is not something you should be proud of. It should, it shouldn't be talked about, and it's extremely shameful to talk about, right? So again, I'm very happy that I'm in, I'm blessed and privileged in a family that, that acknowledges mental health, right? But I know many people say in my first circle itself who don't believe in such a thing, right? And it is also very important as to how mental health, you suppose you educate yourself on, say, LGBTQIA plus community and how you can come out and all of that. Even something like that must be, say, complemented with mental health education, because there, a person does go through a lot of trauma while coming out, or you know it could be their past experiences or whatever it could be. I think education is almost like the base foundation or quintessential for that, is what I think.
Yes, I definitely agree. And with coming out, like you had mentioned, it's not about learning for the person. Like, even if I know mental health, even if I know what trauma it would cause that person to come out, but then everyone around them should know what it is so that they can adjust to it properly. So I think education for mental health and such taboo topics is so important. And we are trying our best to do that, and you are also trying your best to do that. So hopefully in the future the situation can get really better if we work towards it. And like you said, gender stigma in India is one of the most prominent cause of mental illnesses in women. And so, what do you think can someone do to prevent it or overcome it? Like, even with urban girls, they face so much stigma and they need to realize that this is not, right. So, what can someone do to prevent that or overcome that as teenagers, basically?
I think the stigma kind of comes from society, and you can't tell society to shut up because that's not going to happen, right? You are not in control of someone else's thoughts or someone else's ideas. And that's what we've been telling ourselves for a very long time, that we have to make sure that we are okay because no one else will do it for us, right? Even before this entire concept of therapy came up, it was always us consoling ourselves or us going and talking to our friends and making sure that we're all okay. But when it comes to stigma, I think the only thing that we can do as organizations is spread the word, spread the message, make more and more people realize that stigma is not okay, and patriarchy is just a social construct and it shouldn't actually be weighed down, and we shouldn't be made to feel anything less because we are under that society. And I think that's all we can do. It's very easy to say, that, okay, don't feel anything and just turn a blind eye towards all of this. But in reality, it's very hard because of the amount of stigma that we face on a daily basis. But yeah, I think as Girl Up and as Inertia teams, we are doing our best to help. And I think not only us, but several other adolescents and young adults in the country are trying to bridge the gap. And I really hope that it does happen soon because it's much needed and high time that it does happen.
Yeah, I think even I see the light in the end of the tunnel, because something like, I do see the change from, say, my parents' generation to this generation. And I'm reading this book. Actually, it's my first Kannada book. It's called Manovaidena Atmakathe. It is by this renowned psychiatrist of Bangalore. He has done, he is a psychiatrist, right? So he has worked in enhance and all of that. So he himself talks about this paradigm of how it was years ago when he was doing medicine. That time, say, a separate something like mental health section did not even exist in many hospitals. It was, say, I think 2 or 3 hospitals in entire state of Karnataka that it existed, and no one even chose this as a profession to go in, right? So it was that abysmal that time to what we see now. I think, yeah, I think we are the change. Like, people like you and us, and who are working towards this, who are vocal about it. And so I think that's it.
I think one thing I can say is that we can, encourage each other in so many ways. Like, if there is, I feel if there is so much stigma, what we girls can do is encourage each other, give each other opportunities and chances to rise above the patriarchy. And that is something which is in our hands. And one more thing is that if we try to, I have been to this workshop recently which was called I Am Remarkable by Google. So what they mentioned there was we should start advertising about our achievements because women don't speak about it, and it is because of the entire stigma. So if I speak for someone else and their achievements, we should be each other's pillar and start talking about our achievements because we are doing something really great and people deserve to know that. So that was like one of the things I learned, is that we should encourage each other and, you know bring out the best in each other when we know when the world is so cruel. You can say that.
Yeah,
And
definitely. I think we have no reason to put ourselves down just because we are, conditioned to do so. So yeah, you go, girl. I mean, you're doing great things and continue to do so and never be afraid of what other people have to say.
Yeah,
yes,
Lakshmi and I
exactly.
have collective goals.
So moving on to the next question, which is financial literacy among women can really change the entire situation as well. So what's your opinion on that?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So first, I think financial literacy gives race to say, I don't know, I think it is closely related to financial independence as well, right? So when you're financially literate, you learn how to make money. It could be out of anything, a skill that you know, or the skill that you'll eventually learn, right? So yeah, that is one. When you're financially literate and financially independent, you don't have to be under the spell of anyone else to ask or to even speak. You can say ask for therapy yourself because you can afford therapy that time. So yeah, it is one of the intricate detail in the labyrinth is what I think. Lakshmi.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we've spoken, I think recently the entire conversation around financial independence and financial literacy is becoming very well known and rightly so because it's very necessary. I think to have that stand on your own, to, say that, okay, I can support myself and I don't need to depend on anyone else to do that for me is so powerful in itself, right? So yeah, definitely it is very important. And I think if you are financially independent, there is so much you can do. Even I've spoken about domestic violence before this, right? The main reason why it continues to exist is because so many women cannot come out of that situation because they are not in that position to support themselves and have a stable income. But if they are financially independent or financially literate, they will be able to do so, right? So yeah, definitely, it's very, very important to mental health, like Garima said, accessing therapy and everything. 100% second.
I definitely agree. And that is something which is so true and not so spoken about, I feel. It is like a new topic coming up and we are still working on it. So moving on to the next question, period poverty is a real issue and so many people are going through this like a lot. And could you please tell us a little more about it and how does this affect mental health? This is such a main cause, which I feel like a major cause for mental health issues among women. And what are some of your initiatives for the same?
All right. So, period poverty is basically the lack of access to menstrual products among girls and women around India, especially in rural areas. And I think period poverty is seen very, very clearly. Like it's right in our faces because we see so many girls and women not even knowing what sanitary pads are or that they exist. In the first place. So they tend to start using banana peels, ash, and everything to kind of stop their flow during their periods. And it's so disheartening to see because they don't even know it exists. And there's so much stigma around the entire concept of menstruation, that there's so much mental health, a lot of mental health consequences there as well, right? Girls are, encouraged to stop going to school after they start menstruating, and they're encouraged to stay at, or even if they are allowed to continue school, they're encouraged to stay home during their menstrual cycle, because they don't have enough resources to actually stop the flow and ensure that it doesn't take place. And even apart from that, there are so many stigmas that you see around mental health, right? Like, oh, you can't go inside the kitchen when you have your period and everything like that, not only in rural areas but in urban areas as well. So things like this really do take a mental toll on people. I think it's a very, very common situation in India. What we have done to, I mean, I don't think that we can say that we've even done 1% justice to period poverty, because of the fact that it's so prevalent and it's so disheartening. But we've started, maybe we can say we've started the movement by, so we've done menstrual education drives with women. We have distributed around 50 reusable sanitary pads, which have kind of stopped period poverty for 50 women for a period of 3 years. But 50 women isn't even close to the number of women that actually go through period poverty. So we're really trying our best to expand our horizons and kind of make sure that we can do whatever we can in our power to ensure that this situation really comes to a stop. So yeah.
Yeah, just adding on to that. So, as Lakshmi mentioned, we have ended 50, period poverty for 50 women. So before that, we had to get educated on menstruation and like tell, usually it's a stigma in the society, right? So you just can't go out of the blue and tell, bro, listen, this period thing is there, you should know. People will get petrified because of that, right? So we had a session as to how we should approach ladies, how we should approach them, because it's usually people from the underprivileged background who are not educated and who have such a background of hushed up culture of these sorts, that where we're going to distribute the pads. So the first so in that education session, the first slide that was there, it said only 12% of women have access to hygienic sanitary products, and that shocked me so much. Like, imagine there are 100 people and only 12 women are getting this, because and that taught me how privileged I am, right? How me, you, or Lakshmi are so privileged that, first of all, I had not seen a single person who did not use anything else than a sanitary pad or a tampon or a menstrual cup. And that was, like, I would say, eliminating the least. I would say that there are so many people using hay, cement, grass as a substitute for sanitary products, right? And it's sad that before there is pink tax on that, and it is so much necessary for a person, but still there is it's seen as a privilege. So yeah, we are trying our level best. So we also have our own limitations of how big we are or how big of a change we can make, but we are striving hard and striving fast towards ending period poverty.
Yeah,
First of
just
all,
adding to that,
yeah,
one small thing I would like to say that I kind of missed out. So when I was in, I think grade 5, we had a maid who used to, or a household help who used to come, to do chores, and my mom recently told me that she didn't even know what a sanitary pad was, or that a sanitary pad exists, right? And at that time, I had no idea. I couldn't even care less. But looking back at it right now, I was like, oh my god, like if I knew back then, now I don't know where she is or what she's doing, but if I knew back then, I could have done so much to help her, right? But the entire concept of how we did turn a blind eye and how we're so aware right now and we really want to bring out a change is, I can see the difference in myself, and I think I can see the difference in so many girls around me too. So that's showing a small change, and I think that we can really build on that and create a big difference.
I agree. And first of all, I'm so proud of you for doing a small step, because that itself is a big thing for so many like organizations. And it is it is truly so disheartening to know that. And I agree, it is so common and we see it happening, but due to limitations of resources and knowledge about how to act on it, it is a situation we can't deal with. But then we are trying our best. And I think I am really proud of you, because 50 people is still is a number. And we are still on the whole journey to start educating people. And people, if you start educating people around you, that is the first step and the biggest step, I feel. So congratulations on achieving such a goal. And I know that it might feel sometimes that it is a small thing, but I am so proud of you both. And moving on to the Teen Talks question of the day, which is like our special question which we ask everyone who comes. If you could say anything to your younger self about a myth related to mental health, what would that be, and why would you say that to yourself?
Okay, so what I would say is that the myth would be that mental health does not exist, right? Because it does, and we've seen it kind of manifest in a lot of things that we have done and in our everyday lives. And we tend to kind of turn a blind eye towards it because it's not very obvious when you see someone. It's not like a physical illness where you can see that a person's hand is broken, but you can't see if a person is going through something on the inside. And we tend to keep it to ourselves, and we tend to box it in like a tiny corner and say, okay, it's fine. I'm going to get through this regardless, and I don't need anyone's help. I don't need to go to therapy because it's not that big a deal. But um, kind of understanding that it is, and that it is okay to get help, and it's okay that you're feeling a certain way, is something that's very important, that I think everyone should know, especially my younger self. I have always been someone who doesn't really share a lot of myself unless I'm like very comfortable with someone. And I don't like the idea of having to ask someone for help, because I think that I am independent and I can do everything on my own. Maybe I don't know where that stems from, but it's always been a part of me, and I think I've started to kind of embrace that and realize that it's okay to ask for help, it's okay to confide in other people, it's okay to seek therapy. But yeah, I do see that this isn't the case around me, so I am trying to make that kind of difference. It starts with your family, your friends. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say. Garima, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I completely second that. I think even Lakshmi and I talk about it a lot, that I mean, we were that person, who believed that, at least I was that person who believed that asking for help was a sign of you not being strong enough, you not being, say, mature enough to handle your own shit together, right? Asking for help was something, I always felt that, okay, I might, I wholeheartedly, with both of my arms open, will welcome and give support to other people, give advice, be that one friend for others, but I never took care of myself, right? So I always felt somewhat obliged to help out others first, while my mental health was trash. So at a point of time, it is so trash for such a long time that you believe this is how it has been, right? You never acknowledge that this, you can get out of this trash. So yeah, younger self, it's completely okay, first of all, to fuck up, second, to acknowledge that you're, because that takes a lot of mental toll on you, and ask for help, you will be much better off than you are right now.
Yeah, and kind of just adding on to that, I think within my circle and my family, I think it's always been it hasn't been something that anyone ever spoke about at home. Um,
Yes.
What happened?
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
you were telling, right? Hello, can you hear us? Can I? Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Can
I
you
think
hear
that's
me? Can
just
you hear me
connection.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you from the time we started it. I think Laksh.
Okay, all right. I think my connection is
There's a
little
little
weird.
lag, I guess. Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. Apologies.
No problem. We'll cut
It's
that.
fine now, right?
Yeah. You were telling something about
Okay.
wait, how it is not talked about in your family? Hello?
Yeah. So I think I've kind of grown up with that idea that okay, like if I cry or if I show my emotions and I'm vulnerable to people, it's sort of my weakness, and it's not supposed to be like that. I'm supposed to, portray my best version of myself to everyone I see, and even at home. So I think I've grown up with that idea, and I've constantly called myself weak for crying or showing my emotions, even to myself. So in the recent times, I've come to realize that it's okay, that maybe I'm someone who does take things on slightly the emotional side, and that is okay, because that's who I am, and it's not a sign of weakness or it's not a sign of vulnerability, but just that I feel maybe deeply to certain things. So just this entire scenario that I just mentioned could be different to different people, right? Maybe different people have different scenarios of this same thing kind of manifesting, and I think that it's okay to in the end it all boils down to the fact that it's okay. Everything that you're feeling, whatever you believe, it's all valid. Everything will be okay in the end. You just have to believe in yourself and believe in the process that it will happen, and seek for help and make sure to take care of yourself, because no one else is going to do that for you.
Yes, thank you so much for mentioning that and explaining about your whole journey as well. So lastly, what would you like to say to our audience in like about Inertia Teens?
I think I'd like to say, firstly, to the team of Inertia teams, great job on this entire initiative. I genuinely loved speaking here today, and I'm sure that all of the people who've come before us have also felt the same way. And to the audience, I'd like to say that you guys are really lucky that you have, some a kind of organization and a platform that you can look up to, and that gives you good information and good insights into certain topics. So keep following them, and to you guys, keep doing the work that you do. You guys are amazing. How much ever small the change might be, it's still happening, and I think we can all take it one step at a time and do something really great. So yeah, great job. I'm really proud of all of you.
Thank you so much. And even with Girl Up Bengaluru, we are so proud of you. And go and check out their page if you haven't already, because they have some really good content which you might enjoy a lot.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you for giving us a shout out also. I mean, you guys are great. You guys are still in your teams and like doing crazy work. Always there for any help from our side or what we can do to contribute to make a change and see the ripple effects. Cool.
Yes. And thank you so much. And to the audience, you can go and check out their page, subscribe to our channel. And thank
We have no reason to put ourselves down just because we are conditioned to do so. So yeah, you go, girl. I mean, you're doing great things.